Hello, this is an introduction to mechanized squadrons. Um, so let's talk about what a mechanized squadron is to start with. If you, We're in the Eden editor, by the way, on the island of Stratus at the airfield, and I'm looking on the right over here where my mouse pointer is, and we're under composite units. And you have infantry. These are all, independent infantry units, all foot soldiers. Beneath them, we have mechanized infantry, specifically mechanized air defense, anti-armor, rifle squad, and support squad. And beneath that, we have motorized infantry. And the only real difference between the two, well, other than the composition, some of these you'll notice, like there's motorized mortar teams, HMG. The main difference between the motorized infantry and the mechanized infantry is the method of transportation. The mechanized infantry uses armored vehicles or armored personnel carriers, generally of one form or another. The motorized infantry is using trucks or non-armored vehicles for transportation. That's pretty much it. Otherwise, they're identical. So just about everything we say here about how to organize your mechanized infantry will also go for motorized infantry. Okay, so we're going to start with um, the default Arma mechanized unit. The way Arma lays it out is that the actual leader of the squad is, here's the squad leader over here. I'm pointing at him, but he's squad leader in name only. The real leader of this squad happens to be the commander of the vehicle. The commander of the vehicle is the senior person, and everybody else answers to him. So what that means is that the commander of the vehicle will give all the orders to the squad members. The squad leader will not have any unit names. Let's go verify that. So I'm going to go right now. We're going to go play as this character, and I'm pretty sure when we come up here, we're not going to see any of the members of his squad. See in the lower left, there's no squad members for him to order around. He has no icons down there because he's not really the squad leader. Now, if something happens to the vehicle, he would probably become the squad leader, but other than that, he is not. So let's back out of this, return to the editor. I think I made my point. Now, if we go to the squad, to the commander of the vehicle, well, he's the player anyway, so we'll just go into play scenario. And now you're going to notice the vehicle commander in the lower left, you see the icons for not only the 3 members of the crew of the vehicle, but also the entire squadron. Okay, so let's go back to the editor. So what effect does this have on you? Well, it changes the way you do things. So the commander of when the commander says to get in, the squad will get in the vehicle, and the commander can order them out of the vehicle. So as far as boarding and getting in and out of the vehicle, that works pretty well. So this does have some advantages. Now, how would I organize the squad? There's actually, uh, there's, you could just give the entire squad orders all at once, or you can break them up into teams. And I think, especially when you're operating with a vehicle, that the smart way to do this is you have 8 soldiers in the squad. You could break them up into 2 teams, a red team and a green team. And why would you do that? Well, the reason for doing that is it would allow you to send out the teams, one on each flank ahead of the vehicle, to scout out upcoming terrain when you are in enemy territory. Because I think in general you are going to be better off if you use your infantry to find the enemy first before you bring the vehicle up. to employ it, because the vehicle, even though it's armored, is highly vulnerable, both to other vehicles with, depending on what kind of armament they have. If this APC runs into a tank, it'll be a very short engagement. One shot, one hit from a main battle tank, and this APC, this marshal, will be gone. That means this squadron is now without a commander and without transportation. So that is not what you want. So my theory is, you divide your squad up into teams and send them out ahead of the vehicle in enemy territory to hopefully find and identify targets before the vehicle gets too close, and then use the vehicle in concert with your infantry. So let's do that. So I'm going to go into the scenario now, and the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to divide up my squadron into 2 teams. Now, if you look at the icons in the lower left corner, you'll notice that the first 3 are crew members inside the APC, inside the marshal, including myself, the commander, the driver, and the gunner. So they, by default, I'm not going to assign them to a team, which by default will make them team white, which is F5. And I'll demonstrate that once we get done. So there, you can have up to 5 different teams. So the first 2, F1 is team red, F2 is team green. So let's do that. I'm gonna select, starting with Smith, number 4. He's the 4th unit in from the left. I'm gonna select F4, F5, F6, and F7 to correspond with 4, 5, 6, and 7. And I'm gonna hold down the control key and I'm gonna hit F1.
4, 5, 6, 7, team red.
So I have just assigned those 4 soldiers to team red. Now I'm going to establish team green. So now I'm going to select F8, F9, F10. Now there's one more member of the squad who's not showing because the program doesn't show more than 10 units at a time. So to get to them, I have to use F12, F11, and F12. F12 will scroll to the right, and you'll see up comes Clark, number 11 there, all the way over to the left. So I'm going to select him now. Now he's the first one in line, so he's going to be F1 again. So I've now selected 8, 9, 10, and 11, and I'm going to hold down the control key and hit F2, which will assign them all to the green team.
8, 9, 10, 11, team green.
Okay, simple enough. And then now I'm going to back up. All right, so I have now split my 8-man squad into 2 teams, which is, it takes a little doing, but it's worth doing. So let's see how that works out. Okay, so there's my squad. Let's get team red in here. So now once I've created team red, to task them with something, I hit Shift F1. Okay, and now you'll notice the context sensitive menu that appeared in the upper left there, and it's asking me if I want to have a move somewhere, but I don't. So I'm going to use my mouse wheel, scroll up 1 to get in, and push down on the mouse wheel.
Team red, board that vehicle.
So they're going to come. They're going to board the vehicle.
Standing by. Ready. Standing by.
All right, so that's team red.
Ready.
Now I want team green. So once again, I'm going to hold down the shift key, hit F2 this time for team green. And then once again, scroll up with my mouse wheel till it says get in on the context sensitive menu on the upper left. And here
team
we go.
green, board that vehicle.
Copy that. Ready.
So team green is now aboard.
Standing by.
Now, as the vehicle commander, there's two ways to move the vehicle. One way is using WASD keys. You're basically just giving commands to the driver.
Forward.
Like that.
Stop. Back.
Stop. Forward. Stop. You'll notice you're giving. It's all backed up by voice commands,
Forward.
right?
Left. Right.
So.
Left.
I try not to do that too often unless I need to. Sometimes you'll find yourself in a situation where the driver, the AI driver, has got the vehicle all jammed up between two buildings, and you can't figure out how to get out, and you have to get them out of there. But most of the time, if you're giving orders to your driver, you can either do it in 3D, but normally I go to map view, and then I'm going to go to the other end of the runway, and I'm just going to click with my left mouse button. That's all you need to do to give them a waypoint.
Move to grid 01806.
Once you do that, the vehicle driver is going to start moving. Why he's going all the way over here, I have no idea. He seems to be more comfortable on this road than he is on the runway, I guess. I think that has something to do with it. I've noticed, especially in the wheeled vehicles, they tend to default to the roads. They much prefer the road. The tracked vehicles are much more likely to just go directly to the waypoint. That's probably a good thing, because the wheeled vehicles move much faster on the road. They move twice the speed of the tracked vehicles. And also those tires, if you run over a rough enough surface, you can damage them. See, he's taking the streets. That's what he's doing. Normally that's not a problem, because when you're crossing the island, you're going to want him to take the roads anyway. It's much quicker. Well, you get the idea. So he can take us anywhere we want to go. Now, if I want my crews and my teams to get out, I do the exact opposite. I'm going to hold Shift F1 for the red team, and scroll up on my mouse to
Team
disembark.
Red. Disembark.
Milko. Waiting. Ready. Waiting.
And so Team Red is now getting out. Okay. So Team Red's out. How do I know that? Because if you look at the icons in the lower left of the screen, you'll see that all the members of Team Red no longer have the vehicle icon above them. So that's how you know they're out of the vehicle. So now I'm going to do Shift F2 to select Team Green, and I'm going to tell Team Green to disembark.
Disembark.
We'll go. Waiting.
So this is what you would do,
Standing by.
once you're in enemy territory, once you've approached where you think the area of danger is, where you're going to make contact with the enemy. This is how you do it. All right. So what am I going to do? I'm going to take Team Green. So I'm going to select them again. Shift F2, and I'm going to go. I do this on the map view because it's more accurate. I'm going to have Team Green move out forward to the left. This time you'll notice I'm using the mouse wheel, because we're back on the context sensitive menu in the upper left again, where it says move there.
Team Green, move 200 meters front.
On the way.
Okay. Now that I've done that, I'm going to select Shift F1. I've now selected Team Red, and I'm going to move them up to my right flank up forward.
Team Red, move 300 meters right.
This is what you would do on the field of battle, to send them out ahead, right flank, left flank, and bring the vehicle up the middle is one. I mean, there's different ways you can do that, but you have at least then you've got somebody out in front letting you know what's up there. Why send your infantry up there? Because infantry are much harder to. Infantry is a difficult target for an armored vehicle,
Standing by.
especially if the infantry has cover, because they're harder to spot, and often infantry can overwhelm an armored vehicle, especially if they have rocket launchers. They're really very dangerous to an enemy armored vehicle. So, and then of course, you can always throw. Now that they've moved up, then I could bring my vehicle forward. Okay, enough of that. Now we're going to go back to the editor, and we'll
Standing by.
look at another way of doing this. All right, so that is the default, where the vehicle commander is in charge of the whole squad. There is another way to do this. You have to basically create your own mechanized infantry squad, and I did that very quickly. What I did was I laid down a. Let me make sure this guy is linked. Well, we'll assume it is. I think it is. So, what I've done was I laid down an infantry squadron here, a regular infantry squadron without a vehicle, and then I added an APC and I put it in front. You could put it anywhere you want. And so now the way this is set up, the squad leader is in charge, and the APC is just like another one of his units, like his men. So he'll be able to tell the APC where to go, what to attack, etc. So essentially, the vehicle commander is now subordinate to the infantry squad leader. So let's give that a try. So I'm going to go to play as this guy here. There you have it. So now, if you look at my layout this time, whereas in the other arrangement the vehicle was to the far left, now I'm number 1 Miller, and you can see all the members of my squad to the right of me, and then at the end you have the driver, gunner, and vehicle commander, and the vehicle is essentially a part of the squad. So if I want the vehicle to go somewhere, and usually I suppose I could pick the vehicle commander, but if I just want him to go somewhere, it's just as easy to pick F9, which is the driver Santorum of the APC. Let's try that. And I'm going to tell him to go
9,
over there.
11, move right.
See that? There he goes. So now I'm in charge of where the vehicle goes instead of the vehicle being in charge of the squadron. Alright, so I'm going to tell him to return to formation. So I'm going to go F9 again, and that should bring him back to right where he was. Regroup.
9, 11, return to formation.
Maybe. Maybe not. Maybe because he's so close, he thinks he's already in formation. We'll try one more thing. We'll try a move there.
9, 11, move up.
On the way.
Yeah, see, they're already so close that they're not going to move. Okay, so now if I want to get the squad in the vehicle, I have to... now I could divide the squad up, but I'm not going to go through that again. I already showed you. But I'm going to use the tilde key. That's to select everybody in the squad. And I'm going to tell them to go board the AMV Marshal. Context sensitive again. I'm pushing down on the mouse wheel.
2,
Boom.
3, 4, 5,
Off they go.
6, 7, 8. Board that vehicle.
Waiting. Ready. Waiting. Waiting. Standing by. Standing by. Standing by.
All right, so now the entire squad is in the vehicle. And since I'm the head honcho, I can go to map view and I can just click on a point
Move to grid 0, 1, 8,
and off we go.
0, 6, 0.
So the driver knows where to go. And off he's going to go driving down the road again. So let's say to avoid that, I just want to give him commands.
Left. Right.
Oh, he's not too
Backward.
bright.
Right. Backward. Left. Right. Forward. Right. Right.
Okay, so we're going to move on down to the other way, end of the runway.
Right. Right.
Now, if I were doing this, I would split my squad up
Right.
into teams
Left.
again.
Right.
It's a good idea to have the
Right.
tank crew be a separate team, because that way, when you give your teams a command to get out of the vehicle, your tank crew won't get out. And I'll demonstrate that problem in a minute. So
Stop.
I'm going to stop now.
Stop. Backward.
Okay, now if I hit tilde, which is to select everybody in the squad, and I tell them to disembark, that'll work
Disembark.
fine.
Roger that.
Except that also includes the tank, the
Standing
crew,
by.
the APC crew. They're all going to get
Standing
out.
by. Ready.
Watch.
Standing by. Standing by. Waiting. Standing by. Standing by. Standing by.
See that? Everybody's out but me.
Waiting.
Now I'm out now. I'll get out. Okay, so now everybody, the vehicle has nobody in it now because I selected the entire squad. So now I have to go back and individually select the tank crew, tell them to get back in if I want them in there. But other than that, this works just as well. It's pretty much your choice. I can see advantages to both. It depends on whether you prefer to be in charge on foot with your infantrymen, or whether you prefer to be in charge from the commander seat in the vehicle. Other than that, I don't think it makes a whole lot of difference which way you play it. Okay, I hope that was helpful. That concludes this video.